back. Welcome back. Today we have 10 platinums for any beginner trophy hunter. Now, a little about myself. I started trophy hunting with the PS5 generation, starting with one of the games on our list, Astro's Playroom. Now, that sold me on the idea of platinum hunting, and it really did start, I guess, with Cyberpunk 2077. When it first came out, it was my goal to do something different with the game because I enjoyed it so much. I wasn't having like a buggy mess like everyone else, so I wanted to 100% it on Steam, and that is exactly what I did. So, in these next few minutes, if we want to call it that, I want to tell you 10 platinum trophies that pretty much anyone can get. I've got my notes here to keep me on track, and I've got the gameplay right on screen. Up first is a game called Man-Eater, and this game's core mechanic, its core story, you are a shark. Man-Eater is a game of vengeance. You will play as a shark seeking revenge against the murderous, scaly Pete. The gameplay in this game, while repetitive, is quite fun. Your objective is to chomp down on everything you can without getting killed by whatever you are sinking your teeth into. With just enough collectibles and side quests to be fun, but not enough to overdo it, the game is primed for a perfect start to any platinum trophy hunter's journey. I will say towards the end of your trophy hunting run, things do get a bit repetitive while trying to max out your infamy level, but that is my only gripe with the game. Beware that your fingers may hurt after a few hours of playing the game due to the excessive button mashing of the R2 or RT button. I've not played it on PC, but I would hope that it's a little better over there. The platinum is fairly simple and should take roughly 8 to 12 hours, and this trophy is transferable between versions, meaning if you complete the PS4 trophy list and want a free platinum, just fire up that PS5 version of the game and transfer your saved data to the version from the PS4. I give this a 2 out of 10 difficulty and an 8.1 out of 10 on the fun spectrum. Game number 1 in the books, and Man-Eater really is one of my favorites. I have a regular PlayStation account and a Platinum Trophy Hunting account because I wanted a second account to redo all my Platinums because I had so much fun doing them the first time. I'm going to be real, it was mainly for Persona 5, but that Platinum is not in this video because it is not for beginners at all. But next up is Bugsnax. Bugsnax is just a fun game with a fun art style, a fun gameplay loop, a fun premise. It's just fun all around. I believe Bugsnax is one of the most underrated games out there for trophy hunting. The game is super relaxing, but does not have a repetitive game loop. Most Bugsnax must be approached a certain way in order to obtain them. Not to mention the story behind the entire campaign. I won't spoil anything here, but let's just say it's pretty good story considering how simple the game looks on the outside. Catching the harder Bugsnax in the game is actually quite fulfilling. Whether they lured by condiments or other Bugsnax, yes, they eat each other, or even Bugsnax coming from a mini-boss. The fun I would give this game is a solid 8.3 on a bad day, and difficulty is a bit lower than Man-Eater at a 1.8 out of 10, but still it gives a solid challenge in a more puzzle-like manner. The game takes around 15 hours to platinum, a bit longer than Man-Eater, but well worth the extra time. This game also has auto-pop trophies going from PS4 to PS5, so there is yet another free platinum you will get for completing this game. Bugsnax is another game that's just my absolute favorite. So, on to number 3. Ghost of Tsushima is a fairly different game from the previous two. The game looks absolutely stunning and has a gameplay loop that never gets old. There are 4 different stances you will learn throughout the game to use against different enemy types. You are Jin Sakai, looking to reclaim Japan from the invading Khan army. The invading Khan army, led by Kublai Khan. Throughout the game, you will liberate old friends and gain allies to help in your quest to take back Japan. The story is much more complex than the previous 2 games on this list by a mile, a country mile even. I would go as far to say as a kilometer. However, it is still easy enough to follow that I would recommend this to most any gamer, especially for trophy hunting. I give this game a solid 9.7 in fun and about a 5 out of 10 difficulty. That may be higher than the other games, but this is a more sophisticated treasure of an experience. Plus, once you learn how to do things, the difficulty level will go down. Again, this is another auto-pop trophy game when going from PS4 to PS5, so there is 3 platinum trophies that will actually earn you a total of 6. Number 4, and this one is almost a 2-piece. What can I say about Spider-Man 1 and 2 that hasn't already been said? I didn't get into the new Spider-Man games until 2021, and I definitely waited far too long. If you're like me and enjoyed Spider-Man or Marvel, or if you enjoy the Batman Arkham trilogy for its gameplay, then you'll love your time in the new Marvel Spider-Man games. The gameplay loop can get repetitive if you let it. However, there are enough skills and gadgets in the game to where it never will be as long as you use them. According to PSN profiles, the game will take about 25 hours to complete Spider-Man 2018 and another 25 hours for Spider-Man 2. I give these 2 games a combined 9.8 out of 10 for fun aspect and 3 out of 10 for difficulty. The game can be as simple as you want, or like I previously stated, you can make it much more interesting by learning all of the skills and gadgets. Spider-Man 2018 does have auto-pop trophies from PS4 to PS5, however Spider-Man 2 does not, seeing it is a PS5 exclusive. Next up, we keep the list a little different. If you're looking for a chill platinum that is more narrative based, you might want to try Batman the Telltale series. It is a choose-your-own-adventure style of gameplay in which there is more vibing than action. If you like Batman and would like to take a break after Ghost of Tsushima and Spider-Man, this is the perfect platinum for you. There are no missable trophies, and will take roughly 8 hours to get through. In my own words, it is like watching a TV show where you get to decide the protagonist's action. Fun-wise, I would give the game an 8 out of 10, and difficulty comes in at a crisp 1 out of 10. The reason I decided to play this was the ease of the game. I had just finished a string of Persona 5 and Cyberpunk 2077, so I needed something simple and interesting. That is our first half, and getting into the second half, you probably already see it. Donut County. Donut County, which is another game that is on the shorter side and fairly simple. The story in this game is quite unique, and without spoiling it, let's just say things go down fast. The art style is very fun, and the idea of you just controlling a hole to suck up anything and everything is quite satisfying. Pause. The biggest pause I've ever made. The back-to-back-to-back. The game is only 3 hours long and not difficult at all. It is not a game you will play back to back to back, but it is a game I like to revisit every once in a while just for a fun time. There are some missable trophies in this game, though with the ability to select levels, it is quite easy to go back and get whatever you may have missed. I give this game a solid 8.2 out of 10 on the fun meter and a 1.2 out of 10 on the difficulty meter. There are a few things you might need to look up throughout your run, but there are plenty of ways to find exactly what you're looking for incredibly quick with a simple YouTube search. Coming in at number 7, we have another Telltale game, or I guess it's 2 in this case, with Minecraft Story Mode Season 1 and 2. Like I said, these are technically 2 different games. They get you 2 different platinums, but I won't tell if you won't. This another choose your own adventure type of game that does have missable trophies. Up to this point, most games don't have many, if any, missable trophies, but I believe these 2 games are fun enough to be worth the extra time in-game. I grew up playing Minecraft, so of course I wanted to try these games, and they did not disappoint me. Of course, I had zero preconceptions going into it, so please don't go in thinking this is going to be an Oscar-worthy story. It is a solid, very good in my opinion, story though, and definitely worth the 8-hour playthrough that it will take per season. I would like to say that out of the 3 Telltale games I have played all the way through, these 2 are my top 2. The Batman comes in a close third. They are very different, but the simplicity and just ease of play is very nice between big platinum runs. I would give the 2 a compound 8.4. Whoa, 16.8 out of 20 for fun, and just slightly higher difficulty than Batman Telltale game at 2.3 out of 10 or 4.6 out of 20. A quick note here though is these are going to be a little harder to find, seeing how Telltale games went out of business, and it's kind of hard. I don't think you can get the games on PlayStation networks, but I believe I picked up the games secondhand pretty cheap. It won't run you all of your pockets, let's just say that. Game number 8 is a game that was gigantic when it first released back in 2020, and that is SpongeBob for Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated is an absolute banger of a game. The gameplay loop is fun throughout. It really doesn't overstay its welcome with collecting flowers and golden spatulas up until closer to the end. And it's just an all-around great remaster of a childhood favorite game of mine. The only way I could see someone not having fun in this game is if they hate SpongeBob. Short of that, I certainly highly recommend this game to any gamer or trophy hunter out there. PSN Profiles tells this story quite well. Almost 25% of gamers who start the game platinum it. The game has a solid story with Plankton leading the charge with his diabolical scheme to rule the world starting in Bikini Bottom. SpongeBob is launched into an adventure where he must collect golden spatulas and Patrick's socks to stop him. The game will take you around 10 hours, and while there is a little more grind to this one than the other games, it is well worth your time. I myself have completed the game twice to get the platinums on 2 separate accounts, and I give this game a 8.7 out of 10 on the fun meter and a 2. 9.7 on the difficulty meter. It loses a fun point because of the eventual need to look up some tutorials, though there are tons of great ones out there, so quickly get what you need to finish off that collectathon. Some time trials I had to do a couple of times, and there are a couple of moves you need to learn throughout the game before you can go back to previous levels and unlock what you need to. However, once you have those down, you can play the game all the way through. I can most closely relate this game to an easier and less time-consuming. What was I thinking when I wrote this? Okay, I get it. I can most closely relate this game to an easier and less time-consuming Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, which we'll leave for another video. At number 9, we have another Spider-Man game in Spider-Man Miles Morales. This game is a lot like Spider-Man 1 and 2, however I put it in its own category because it can be quite different than the original 2018 Spider-Man. This game mixed with Spider-Man 2018 is how we got the fantastic sequel, Spider-Man 2. I truly loved getting to spend time with Miles outside of the animated movie Into the Spider-Verse. We got a completely different moveset than Peter in a very different story. Peter is out of town for the first time ever, and it is our job as Miles to protect New York City. The trophy requires 2 playthroughs and will run you about 20 hours, but much like Spider-Man 2018, it is easy to play hours at a time without even realizing the clock has changed. I will give the game the same score I gave the other 2 Pokemon. Where am I? The other 2 Spider-Man games, a 9.8 out of 10 for the fun, and a 3 out of 10 for difficulty. Last, but certainly not least, we have come full circle. We have Astro's Playroom for PS5. Now I know what you're thinking, why wasn't that number 1? And to you I say, suspense, baby. This is the game that got me into Platinum Trophy hunting when I first got my PS5. Before that, I thought it was silly. But this game really showed me the value of playing every part of a game. The game has 4 stages and a boss battle. It also has collectibles room that you can interact with. It also puts the full capabilities of the PS5 controller on display. That is what the game was pretty much meant to be after all, but it was fun regardless. It clocks in at around 5 hours to get the platinum, but I can personally guarantee you that it will not feel like 5 hours. This is possibly one of my favorite puzzle games of all time. For the fun meter, I give this a solid and modest 10 out of 10. It is not perfect, to be fair, but it might be the most relaxing fun I've had to date on my PS5. The difficulty, I'll give it a 1.2 out of 10. Once you get the hang of the controls, it becomes an absolute breeze, while still managing to have an incredibly fun gameplay loop. I cannot end this game without talking about the amazing soundtrack that comes with it. Each level has its own personalized music that is just an absolute vibe. Each level has its own personality overall. And there's very few games that I've platinumed twice that I have considered platinuming a third time, but this is one of them. This is that perfect middle ground, shorter platinum trophy to play between those long runs, if you so happen to get into those, or it's perfect just starting out because it's 5 hours long. But that is it. Those are my 10 games to platinum as a beginner trophy hunter. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you take a try at one of these 10 games if you're interested in Platinum Trophy hunting. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.